Okay, so we're going to split the level 3 of A.REI.3 up into 2 lessons. We are going to be solving equations in the first lesson, but now we might be dealing with some equations that have no solution and some equations that have all real numbers. So all numbers could be solutions to the equation. And now, a no solution would happen if the variable completely disappears and you wind up with a false statement at the very end. Whereas an equation that has all real numbers, every number would work in that equation, is when the variable disappears completely and you have a true statement that's left over. All right, so we're going to start. These are equations with variables on both sides. We're first going to simplify, just like we did in the level 1, and then we're going to be moving the variable to one side, just like we did in the level 2. So in number 1, I first need to simplify the left side by distributing the minus sign into parentheses. So I wind up with a minus 3 minus a b when I distribute that in. On the right side, I don't need to simplify anything, so I just rewrite it. Now, on the left side, I still need to simplify some things. I need to simplify the 8 minus the 3, which is a 5. And then I have a minus b is equal to a b minus a 9. All right, so now this looks like a level 2 equation where we need to get the variable alone on one side first. So I'm going to either get this minus b over to the right or get this b over to the left. It does not matter. I'm going to get the minus b over to the right by adding it over. Remember, when we're getting to the variable on both sides, when we're getting the variable on one side, we do just need to add or subtract that variable over. So now I'm left with a 5 is equal to, and a negative b plus a b, those b's cancel. And then a 1b plus a 1b is a 2b. And then I have a plus 9. All right, this should look familiar now. This is a level 1 equation. I'm going to first subtract 9 from both sides. And I wind up with a negative 4 is equal to a 2b. And then now I'm going to divide by 2 on both sides to wind up with b is equal to negative 2. All right, moving on to number 2. I do need to simplify my left side by first distributing the 8 in. So I have a 40c minus a 16 is equal to, and I do need to simplify something on the right side. I'm going to distribute the 10 in to get a 320 plus a 40c. Now, this is a level 2 equation. We need to get the 40c, either this left 40c over to the right or this right 40c over to the left. It does not matter which one. But either way, we are going to need to subtract 40c from both sides. When I subtract 40c from both sides, a 40c minus a 40c cancels on the left, and I'm left with a negative 16 is equal to a 320, and then a 40c minus a 40c also cancels on the right. So my variable completely disappeared. So this is where we get to one of these situations. Well, when your variable disappears and you wind up with a false statement like we do here, because is negative 16 equal to 320? No, it's not. Then your answer is no solution. So what that means is that there is no number that we can put in for c that would make this equation true. There's just no solution to this equation. All right, we're now going to look at number 3. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to simplify first. So simplifying on my left side, I'm going to distribute my 4 into parentheses. So I have a 4t plus an 80. And that equals, now I'm going to distribute the 1/5 into the other part, which gives me a 4t plus a 80. Now I'm going to get the variable on one side by subtracting this 4t over. A 4t minus 4t is a 0, so those 4t's cancel out and I'm left with an 80, is equal to a 4t minus 4t is a 0, so those 4t's also cancel out and I'm left with an 80. So my variable completely disappeared, and when that happens, again, you have two choices here. When your variable completely disappears and you end up with a true statement like we have here, because 80 does equal 80, then your answer is all real numbers. And what that means is that any number you put in for t will actually be a solution to this equation. It would make this equation true. Any number would make this equation true. All right, moving on to number 4. I'm going to first simplify the left side and the right side. So simplifying the left side, I get a 6 plus a 4q. Simplifying the right side, I get a 12q minus a 42. Now I'm going to get the variable on one side by either subtracting this 4q over to the right or subtracting this 12q over to the left. It does not matter, but I'm going to subtract the 4q over to the right. So I wind up with a 6 is equal to an 8q minus a 42. Now this is a level 1 equation here. I'm now going to add the 42 over. So I have a 48 is equal to an 8q. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 8. To get q is equal to 6, or 6 is equal to q is the same thing. This did not come out to be a no solution or an all real numbers. You actually came out to have a solution, and that solution is 6. All right, looking at number 5, I'm going to start off by simplifying the left side by distributing the 8 in. I have an 8b plus an 8, and then I have that plus 4 left over. I'm now going to simplify the right side by first distributing. So I get a 6b minus a 24, and then I have that minus 16. So we're actually not done with our simplifying here, because on the left, I can actually do the 8 plus the 4. So I get an 8b plus a 12. And on the right, I can actually do the negative 24 minus the 16, so I get a 6b minus a 40. Now this is a level 2 equation. You can either subtract the 8b over to the right or subtract the 6b over to the left. It does not matter, but I'm going to do the 6b. An 8b minus a 6b is a 2b, and then I have that plus 12 is equal to, my 6b's cancel out, and I have a minus 40. All right, so now I'm going to subtract the 12 over. So I have a 2b is equal to a negative 52. And now I'm going to divide by 2 on both sides to get b is a negative 26. A reminder, you can check your answer by putting that negative 26 back into your original equation and seeing if it actually comes out to be a true statement. All right, number 6. So I'm going to start this problem off by first distributing the 1/3 into parentheses. So I have a 1/2 h plus a 1/3 h minus 1/3 times a 6 is a 2. Now there's many ways that you can do the problem from here. You can either multiply the whole equation by 6 to get rid of the fractions, or you can find a common denominator between the 1/2 and the 1/3 h, so that way you can combine like terms. It does not matter how you do this problem. I'm going to find like terms. So between a denominator of 2 and 3, your denominator would be 6. To get a 1/2 having a denominator of 6, I need to multiply both the numerator and denominator by 3. So I wind up with a 3/6. To get a 1/3 to have a denominator of 6, I need to multiply the numerator and denominator by 2. So I get a 2/6. And a 3/6h plus a 2/6h is a 5/6h. And then I have a minus 2 is equal to a 5/6h plus a 2. So now I'm going to get the variable on one side. I'm going to subtract a 5/6h over to the right side. A 5/6h minus a 5/6h cancels out, and I'm left with a negative 2 on the left. And then a 5/6h minus a 5/6h cancels out, and I'm left with a positive 2 on the right. Since my variable disappeared completely, and I came out with a false statement, and this answer is no solution. All right. And then moving on to the last problem before you jump into the next level 3 video. We are first going to simplify the left by distributing the 2 in, so I get a 10x minus a 14. And then I need to distribute the negative 3 in to get a negative 3x, or a minus 3x minus a 9. And then on the other side, I need to distribute the 14 in, so I get a 28 minus a 42x, and then minus a 5x. All right, jumping back to the left side, I do need to simplify by combining like terms. A 10x minus a 3x is a 7x, and then a negative 14 minus a 9 is a negative 23, or minus 23. And then now, on the other side, I have a 28, and then a negative 42 minus a 5x is going to be a minus 47x. All right, so this becomes a level 2 question now. We are going to get either the 7x over to the right or the negative 47x over to the left. I'm going to add 47x over to the left. So I wind up with a 54x minus a 23 is equal to a 28. And now I'm going to add the 23 over. So I wind up with a 54x is equal to a 51. Dividing both sides by 54, I wind up with x is equal to a 51 over 54. However, I do need to simplify this answer, and both 51 and 54 are divisible by 3. So I wind up with 51 divided by 3 is a 17, and 54 divided by 3 is 18. So x is 17 over 18 is your simplified answer. All right, you're going to need to check out the second level 3 video.